After calming down and cleaning myself off, I went to my room and got into bed. My arms were still burning, considering they were practically cut to the bone. I cringed at the thought of it, rolling onto my back so that I was looking at the ceiling. No one had talked to me since I came home. They definitely knew something about what happened to me. What did they mean by I was the one to kill my father? I asked myself out loud. They mean you're the one who's going to kill your father, dumbass. A familiar voice replied to me, making me jump. I couldn't quite put my finger on whose voice it was, though. I sat up in my bed, looking around to see that no one was in my room. Who's there? I asked quietly, getting up from my bed and inspecting my room. Are you kidding me? The voice sighed. I expected more from you, Sky. I really did. Please just tell me who you are. Oh, my dear, the voice said as I slowly walked over to the mirror to see my reflection. I am you. No, you can't be me. That's impossible. Let's see how I can explain this so even you can understand. It paused. I'm insanity. I'm everything you will refuse to be. The killer you truly are. But because you refuse to accept the madness, it's stored away and long forgotten about. Well, when you were trapped in that place, you had to use your natural-born killer instincts to find your way out of that room. That's how I was born. My head began to pound as she finished. Stop! I yelled, bringing my hands to my head as it got worse. There is no way to escape me, Sky, she chuckled. The cuts on my arm began to burn even more fierce as the word death was repeated in my mind over and over again. Leave me alone, I screamed as I collapsed to my knees, still holding my head. Just stop! And it did. I wiped the tears from my face as I stood up. Don't underestimate me, she said in an almost soothing voice. My door opened and my dad walked in. And, shocker, he was covered in blood, but I didn't really care. I ran up to him and hugged him as the tears filled my eyes again. Sure, my dad was a psychotic arsehole who finds joy in other people's pain, but he was still my dad. There was no way I could ever hurt him. Sky, are you okay? He asked, confused. I pulled away and looked up at him. Yeah, I'm fine. I just really missed you, I smiled. I missed you too, he said, leaning over and kissing my forehead. Kill him. You were just screaming. Are you okay? He asked. Kill him. Yeah, just a nightmare, I laughed awkwardly. Kill him. We need to talk about what happened to you. Your mum already told me everything. Kill him. I would love to, but in the morning. I'm exhausted. I lied. His knife is in his pocket. Just grab it. Shut up! I screamed. Jeff looked at me shocked. Sorry, Dad, not you. Okay. You should get some rest, he said, leaving the room. I sighed and hopped into bed. You're weak. You could have killed him right here and now, she yelled at me. I'm not going to kill my father. Why not? He killed his parents so many years ago. That doesn't mean I have to follow in his footsteps. You're right. You're much slower than he was. He had already snapped at your age. You must be a late bloomer. Shut up! Just because my whole family is a bunch of killers doesn't mean I have to end up just like them. We'll see about that. Sky! I was tackled by Sally running in and giving me a hug at 9 in the morning. Hey, Sally, I yawned. Where were you? What happened to you? Did you almost die? Did you get to kill anything? Calm yourself, I told her, pressing my finger against her lips to shut her up. She just blushed and smiled innocently. Sorry. You're okay, I giggled, kissing her cheek. I missed you too. I'll leave you alone so you can get ready, she said, getting up and walking out of my room. After getting dressed, I went downstairs and ate breakfast. Good morning, sweetie. My mum walked up to me. Morning, Mum. So didn't you and Dad want to talk to me this morning about what happened or whatever? Because you were acting weird. What do you mean? Are you okay? She asked, confused. Remember? I was missing for a week. Jack told me. She just gave me a blank look. I told you about it after I woke up, and I had death carved into both of my arms repeatedly, I yelled, raising my arms, but as I looked down I saw they were gone. Who's Jack? I think we should take you to a doctor, she said, standing up and grabbing my wrist. Mum, what are you doing? I yelled, trying to pry her hand open, but her grip was too tight. Kill her, voice said. No, I screamed. Sally, help! My mum turned back to look at me again. Who is Sally? You need more help than I thought. Kill her, it screamed at me again, but this time giving me that throbbing headache. Sally, you know, the little girl who lives with us? She's like my sister and your daughter. She woke me up this morning. Please tell me you remember her. I began to cry. Kill her. No, I don't know any of these people, Sky. End this, it said. I reached towards the table and grabbed a kitchen knife. I saw the fear in my mum's eyes. Sky, what are you... I stabbed her right in the chest, making her fall to the ground and let go of my wrist. I felt a rush of adrenaline as I had never felt before. I smiled as I raised the knife again and stabbed her over and over, watching the life slowly drain from her eyes. I laughed as I stood up, covered in blood. I stared down at my mother's lifeless body. I shot up in bed, covered in sweat and tears. I looked around to find that I was still in my room. It was just a dream, I choked. Sure, it was just a dream. For now. I would never do such a thing, I whispered, rolling over in my bed again to try and get comfortable. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my mom's mangled body laying on the floor. I have control over our minds, Sky, she chuckled. Please stop. Why would I do that? I'm having too much fun seeing you break down like a little bitch. Plus, I'm so close to cracking you. I will never do that, I said as I slowly drifted off into another nightmare. Every single one was different, except it was always me killing someone I loved. And after every one, I woke up startled. Then the mocking would come from the voice. Every now and then, I would check the clock, seeing the hours pass. By the time it hit 6 in the morning, I had had enough. I went downstairs to see Sally, Ben, and Jack were already sitting down there eating breakfast. Morning, Sally smiled. I yawned. Morning. Wait, hold on a second. Is this really our Sky? Ben asked sarcastically. What makes you ask that? Jack said, turning to look at him. Look at the time. It's 6 in the morning. Our Sky usually sleeps till past noon. I couldn't really sleep last night. Why not? Sally looked at me with her big green eyes. I don't know, I just couldn't. I walked over to the couch and collapsed onto it. What? Are you not going to tell them about me? It asked. Nope, I whispered, quiet enough that no one else could hear. I think I'm going to go for a walk, I said, standing up and leaving the house. The cool air blew against my face as I laid under my tree. Yes, I said my tree. It's been the spot I had gone my entire life. It was just comforting knowing that the same tree would always be there. I sighed as I slowly closed my eyes, taking in the first moments of silence I've had in weeks. The voice in my head, the other me as I like to call it, doesn't go away without a fight. But when I concentrate hard enough, I can get some peace. My sleeping hasn't gotten much better either. In fact, I haven't slept at all. I've developed bags under my eyes. Not that looks really matter at this point anyway. It's not like I can go into public. I know I will just snap and slaughter everyone. I shudder at the thought of that. Yet at the same time it was soothing to think of someone's blood gently gliding down their skin. I shook my head violently, realizing that I was starting to lose control and the other me would be back soon. Sky? A familiar voice said from behind me, making my whole body freeze in fear. Not that he was scary, but that I was scared I was going to hurt him. I turned slightly to see Brent standing there. Sky, is that you? He asked again, sounding concerned. Taking a deep breath, I finally replied. Hey. I fake smiled as he walked over to where I was sitting and sat next to me. Where have you been? You took off at the party a couple of weeks ago and never came back. Oh, sorry about that. I had to get home before my, curfew. I quickly lied. Guess that makes sense, he half smiled. I replied with a quiet yeah as I pulled my knees tighter to my chest, feeling awkward. He reached out for my cheek before pulling my face into his and kissing me softly. I melted into his touch, feeling weaker than ever, but if I ever needed comfort, now was the right time. He broke the kiss and stared into my eyes. I could tell he knew something was wrong. Brent stood up and grabbed my hand, which caused me to cringe quickly and pull my hand away. Realizing quickly what just happened, he kneeled down next to me, delicately taking my wrist in his hand and flipping them over to see fresh cuts that overlapped the old ones from before. "I'm sorry," I practically whispered so he could barely hear. "Don't be," he said, kissing my forehead lightly, which caused butterflies to form in my stomach. This time we stood up together. I couldn't help but feel bad. I don't know why I was apologizing to Brent for the cuts. I wasn't cutting on purpose. It was her, the other me, doing it all. I physically couldn't stop her. Tears formed in the corner of my eyes when I thought about it. "You okay?" Brent asked, breaking my thoughts. I nodded, wiping the tears away quickly. "Would you mind going on a walk with me?" he asked with a saddened smile on his face. I just nodded again, feeling my heart break.